Many people will find this statement uncomfortable, but honesty is necessary at this moment. I speak today without hostility and without taking sides. The continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu, who is linked to the Indigenous People of Biafra and the agitation for self-determination, has become a matter of concern beyond Nigeria's borders. It raises questions about dialogue, due process, and long-term stability. Until clear and lawful steps are taken toward resolving his case through transparent and peaceful means, the situation involving the detained Nigerian Air Force personnel will remain unresolved. This position is not an attack on Nigeria's sovereignty, nor an endorsement of any movement, but a call for fairness, open engagement, and justice.
Tension erupts as Ibrahim Traore drops powerful statement after Nigerian Air Force misused their airspace. He urges Nigerian government to release detained Nnamdi Kanu. Watch the full video to hear from him. Don't forget to tell us where you are watching from and share your ideas in the comments section below.
Let me be clear. This position is not an attack on Nigeria's sovereignty. It is not an endorsement of any movement, ideology, or separatist ambition. Burkina Faso respects Nigeria as a sovereign state and recognizes its right to manage its internal affairs under its constitution and laws. At the same time, sovereignty does not exist in isolation from responsibility, just as regional solidarity does not exist without accountability. Africa is deeply interconnected. What happens in one nation inevitably echoes across others. Instability, mistrust, and prolonged tension do not stop at borders. They travel through shared history, shared economies, shared security challenges, and shared futures. This is why unresolved political and legal disputes with strong emotional resonance demand careful attention, not silence. The situation involving the detained Nigerian Air Force personnel must be understood within this wider context. Their continued detention is not an act of aggression, retaliation, or political blackmail. It is a position taken reluctantly, anchored in the belief that justice must be seen to move, not remain frozen. Until clear, lawful, and transparent steps are taken toward resolving the case of Nnamdi Kanu through peaceful and credible means, this matter will remain unresolved. At this point, we must pause and ask important questions. What message does prolonged detention without visible resolution send to ordinary citizens across Africa? How does a region promote peace when legal disputes become symbols of exclusion rather than instruments of justice? Can stability truly be sustained when dialogue is postponed indefinitely? And how long can nations manage deep grievances before they harden into permanent fractures? These questions are not accusatory. They are reflective. They challenge all of us, not only one country, to examine how power, law, and dialogue interact in moments of tension. Africa has seen the cost of unresolved grievances. We have seen how silence fuels radicalization, how exclusion breeds resentment, and how delay transforms legal matters into political crises. We have also seen the opposite. We have seen how timely dialogue, judicial transparency, and political courage can diffuse tensions that once seemed unmanageable. This is why this position must be understood correctly. It is not punitive. It is not emotional. It is procedural. It is rooted in the belief that peace is best preserved when justice is visibly active and when dialogue remains open. The detained personnel are not being used as leverage in a hostile sense, but their situation reflects a broader concern that unresolved cases with deep political and emotional implications cannot simply be ignored. Let us ask again. What is the cost of waiting without explanation? Who benefits when uncertainty replaces clarity? And how does a region move forward when trust erodes quietly, day by day? Burkina Faso's stance is guided by a commitment to regional stability and African solutions to African challenges. We believe that lasting peace is not enforced through pressure alone, but it cannot survive without fairness. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be progressing. When people see movement, they find patience. When they see stagnation, frustration grows. This is not a demand for immediate outcomes. It is a call for visible process, a call for transparency, a call for lawful engagement that reassures citizens that institutions are functioning as intended. The release of Nnamdi Kanu, or clear steps toward resolving his case within a credible legal framework, would send a powerful signal that dialogue remains possible and that grievances can be addressed without confrontation. At the center of this matter are human lives. Legal arguments and political positions often overshadow the human cost of prolonged disputes. Families wait. Communities speculate. Tensions simmer. Over time, uncertainty becomes its own form of instability. No responsible leadership can ignore this reality. Let us reflect further. Is strength shown by rigidity or by the confidence to reassess? Does authority weaken when it listens, or does it gain legitimacy? And can unity be preserved by force alone, or does it require inclusion and trust? Africa's future depends on how its leaders answer these questions, not in speeches alone, but in actions that reflect balance, restraint, and foresight. The continent cannot afford cycles of escalation fueled by unresolved disputes. Our security challenges are already complex. Our economic recovery demands cooperation. Our youth demand hope, not endless confrontation. This position, therefore, should be seen as an appeal to responsibility rather than a challenge to authority. It invites Nigeria to demonstrate leadership through openness and lawful resolution. It invites regional actors to support dialogue rather than polarization. And it invites all parties to remember that peace is rarely achieved by winning arguments, but by resolving them. The detained Nigerian Air Force personnel remain treated with respect and in accordance with applicable standards. Their situation is not detached from the broader principle being raised. Resolution on one front will naturally ease resolution on the other. This is not a threat, it is a reflection of cause and effect in diplomatic and security realities. At this stage, the path forward is not confrontation, it is communication. Not pressure without dialogue, but engagement with purpose. Not silence, but clarity. Let us imagine the alternative. What happens if steps are taken, if dialogue is reopened, if legal processes move transparently, tensions reduce, trust begins to rebuild, regional cooperation strengthens, the narrative shifts from conflict to progress. This is not idealism, it is precedent. Africa has witnessed it before. The question, then, is simple but demanding. Are we prepared to choose resolution over prolongation? Are we willing to accept that listening is not weakness? And can we recognize that justice delayed without explanation risks becoming injustice in perception, even when law exists in principle? This moment calls for calm leadership, not reactive decisions. It calls for legal clarity, not endless ambiguity. It calls for dialogue grounded in law, dignity, and mutual respect. Burkina Faso remains open to engagement. We remain committed to peaceful relations, regional cooperation, and respect for sovereignty. Our position is not fixed by pride, but by principle. When progress is made through lawful and transparent means toward resolving the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the circumstances surrounding the detained personnel will be reassessed accordingly. Africa's stability is a shared responsibility. No nation stands alone in its consequences. No decision exists in isolation. The choices made today will shape trust tomorrow. Let us choose wisely. Let us act carefully. And let us remember that peace is not achieved by avoiding difficult conversations, but by having them with honesty, restraint, and respect.